Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamara of Tamara Fashion Style, and if this is your first time here, welcome back. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, share my channel, and subscribe so you won't miss any video from me. So today in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a skirt right on onto your fabric. So let's say you have a piece of fabric, you don't have any pattern paper, and you want to draft a skirt right on the fabric. So I have this piece of fabric here, which I'm going to fold in two, which I'm going to put it on the fold as you guys see me doing here. And we're going to draft a skirt onto this fabric right here. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So what you will need to draft this, you will need some tools for draft this. You need a marker, a scissors, measuring tape, fabric, and your measurement. So let's go ahead. So you're going to fold your fabric, right, and you're going to fold it in half. Now what I have here, I'm measuring out quarter of my waist, which we only work in quarters when we draft in pattern. So I am using a permanent marker just for demonstration purpose. You don't use this marker on your fabric, your original fabric, because it will stain and the marking can't come out. So what I am doing here, I am measuring down 2 centimeters from the edge of the fabric so I could get room to add my seam allowance. So this line will work as my waistline. So this line going to work as my waistline, so I'm going to put quarter of my waist measurement here, because remember we work in quarters. So I'm going to measure down my hip measurement, and I'm also going to take quarter of my hip measurement and put on this line. Then from the waist, I'm going to measure down the length of the skirt. So I'm looking for quarter of my hip measurement plus ease in the pattern. So now I'm going to measure down this length of my skirt, and I'm going to put quarter of the hip measurement as well onto the length of the skirt. So I'm going to grab my ruler, marking the line, and I'm going to put quarter of my hip measurement. So this quarter of my waist measurement with ease plus the dart. So all the measurement, this one, the length is quarter of my hip measurement and ease. So I'm going to fold back and I'm going to make the dart. Remember, I have put quarter of my waist measurement plus ease plus dart, inches for the dart. So I'm going to put the dart quarter 1 centimeter on each side. Then I'm going to measure down 4 to 5 centimeters down, and I'm going to connect my dart as you guys see in here. This is very simple, especially for those who they're in the drafting for a long time. And this is also method for beginner, for if you don't want to keep buying pattern paper, because pattern paper very expensive. So I'm going to grab my ruler and I'm going to measure between the hip and the waist and connect this line to form the skirt. So as you guys see me here, and then I will take the straight part of the ruler and I'll connect the hem to the hip measurement. So as you guys can see how easy this is, so you can make a skirt right onto your fabric. Now what I'm going to do here, I am going to put my curve this back right to the, because I curve extra there, so I curve it right back to the right hip measurement. So as you guys can see, I'm measuring to make sure I have my hip measurement on point, because you don't want this skirt to be too tight or you don't want the waist to be too big. So what I'm doing here, I am measuring my seam allowance in to this fabric so I can cut it out to stitch. So this is the stitching line I am measuring here. So what I'm doing here now, I'm gonna put in my hem, which is 2 centimeters I do, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna cut out this thing, this fabric. Now I'm gonna measure up 1 centimeter where I can connect this skirt here, right here. Now I have to put a seam allowance on to the waist of the skirt as well. So I'm going to look for the seam allowance and I'm going to connect it to my waist. So my skirt already have seam allowance here. So when I cut out this skirt here, I am going to get the whole front of the skirt. Now this skirt cut draft on a fold of the fabric. I'm going to open it and let you see. So I'll go ahead and I will cut out my fabric and let you see what the skirt look like. So this is what the skirt look like. I'm going to copy the dart onto the other side, and please don't do this. Don't mark your original fabric with a permanent marker. I'm just doing this for demonstration so you guys can see. So you see, this is the whole front of the skirt. Very easy, very quick and simple. So this method is for those who don't want to use pattern paper, or who don't have time to buy pattern paper, or who don't like using too much paper. So what I'm doing here, I'm gonna draft the back of the skirt now. And remember, the back of the skirt going to be 2 pieces. But I'm going to put the fabric on a fold, and when I done, I'm going to slice the back of the pattern onto to make one arm thing. So let's go ahead and let's draft this skirt in place. So what I'm doing here, I just lining up the front onto the back to see what length of fabric I have to get. So I have an extra piece here, and remember, I just using this for demonstration, just to show you how you can do this very easy onto a piece of fabric. Now I can draft on paper, I can draft on fabric as well. So you're gonna fold your fabric just as how you fold the front, right? And we are cutting 2 pieces of the back, but we're gonna do the back on a fold. So I'm gonna line up this skirt just to get the length of this front skirt so that the back can match up. So I'm going to draft it just as the front, right? But the only difference is that the back would be 2 pieces and the back dart would be longer. So you're going to measure down 2 centimeters from the top of your fabric. You're going to get quarter of your waist measurement plus ease plus dart measurement. So you're going to add the inches for the dart as well right into your measurement. So I'm measuring down the length, the hip, right from the waist. I'm measuring down the length, and then I'm measuring down the hip, then the length of the skirt. So I'm gonna draw in the length of the skirt now. So the 3 lines, one is the waist, one is the hip, and one is for length. So now you're gonna get your measurement now, and what we're gonna do, you're gonna put the quarter or the waist measurement plus ease plus dart measurement. So as you guys can see, I measure back my front to get the right measurement. So I'm gonna put the waist measurement there. So let me measure, but make sure I have the right measurement. So I'm gonna put the waist measurement, the waist, quarter the waist. Then I'm gonna add the ease. Then I'm gonna add the inches for the dart. So I'm gonna put 1 centimeter from the edge of that fabric. So let me just draw in the zipper allowance one time, so I won't short any fabric. So the 1 centimeter is for the zipper that I put there, and now I'm gonna put in the quarter of the waist measurement plus ease plus dart inches plus the inches for the dart. I'm gonna put the hip measurement. I'm gonna put ease for the hip as well, and I'm gonna draw in the same measurement from the hip to the hem of the skirt. So I'm gonna go ahead now, measuring out for the dart. So I'm gonna put my measuring tape in half, get the dart placement, and then I'm going to measure down 6 centimeters because the dart back more longer than the front. So now I'm going to put 1 centimeter on each side, and now I'm going to draw in the dart. Remember, don't do this with a marker on your fabric, because this is permanent marker I'm using. I'm just using this for demonstration purpose. So now I'm gonna draw in the curve, which is the waist and the hip measurement, and I'm gonna draw that in for shape the skirt. Then I'm gonna connect the bottom to the hip. So this is what my back of my skirt look like. I'm gonna measure up the same 1 centimeter from the side, and I'm gonna connect. Remember, we have shape, we are not square, so our skirt have to get a curve. So I'm gonna measure up 1 centimeter, and then I'm gonna shape that back. So this is what my skirt look like. I'm gonna put the stitching line, the hem allowance, so the seam allowance, sorry, I'm putting in 1 centimeter seam allowance. You can put how much ever seam allowance you want. You can work with a 1/2 inch, an inch, or how much, 3/4 inch, 5/8, or much ever. So my hem is 2 centimeter that I am doing here. So I'm gonna connect all my lines, and now this is what the back of my skirt will look like. And now I'm gonna cut this skirt out. Now before I cut this, I'm gonna cut the hem first. All right, I'm gonna cut the hem, then I'm gonna fold this hem back just in case I don't want this but the side of the skirt to be short. So I'm gonna fold that, and I'm gonna cut right outside of the seam allowance line, and I'm gonna cut this skirt. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna split the back in two so we can get 3 pieces of skirt. So now here you're gonna get your scissors, and I'm gonna split that back in two. Okay, I'm gonna split. So this is the back of the skirt on a fold. Now if you want to put a zipper on the side, you don't split this back of the skirt. You can put a zipper on the side, but for people with big butt, I find the zipper on the side does have this pucker, so I put my zipper in the back for people who have large hips. So this is the front, this is the back of the skirt, what it look like. So now this is what the skirt look like. You see, it very easy and simple to draw on onto the fabric, right? If you don't have paper, if you don't have paper, you can use your fabric. You can draw your skirt right onto your fabric, and you can go ahead. So what I'm doing here is dotting out the dart for this skirt. Right, and I'm gonna take my ruler, and I'm gonna shape it properly because I don't like the dart, the shape where it come out of. So I'm gonna shape it with the ruler properly, and there we go, easy peasy as 1, 2, 3. So this is what we get. Now we're gonna measure the waist for this skirt. Now we need to make a waistband for this skirt. Now you can make any waistband you please. You can make the facing waistband, or you can make the outer waistband. So what I'm doing here, I'm making the waistband. So I'm gonna measure the waist, leaving out the dart, right? So we don't measure where the right through the waist for the dart, leave out the dart, because remember the dart is a different measurement. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna measure the waist, and then we're gonna multiply that by 2. So the back of the waist will multiply by 2, the front of the waist will multiply by 2, as you guys see I'm doing here. And now I'm gonna measure the front of the waist. As you guys can see, I leaving out the dart, and I'm gonna multiply that by 2. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a piece of fabric, I'm gonna fold the fabric in half. Now your waistband could be 3 centimeter, it could be 4 centimeter. Now what I'm gonna do, I am leaving a button allowance of 3 centimeter. So I leave the button allowance here, and then I will go and measure my waistband, the width of the waistband that I need. So the width of the waistband I'm doing is 5 centimeter. So that width, and I have it on a fold. So when I open the fabric, it's going to be 10 centimeter. When I fold the fabric, it's going to be 5 centimeter my waistband going to be. So I'm going to measure out the first I'm measuring here is the back of the quarter of the back measurement. Then I will measure quarter of the front waist measurement, and then I will measure, connect the line. So the marking that I have on this waistband, the first marking is the quarter back, right? And then I measure the quarter front, and then the other quarter front. So next what I'm doing here, I am measuring the other quarter back. So the measurement that you measure out, remember it's quarters we working with, right? So measure your waistband, the length of your waist, and then you're gonna add some seam allowance. So what I'm doing here is the seam allowance I am adding right away around the waistband. So here I get my waistband right here, and I'm gonna add the seam allowance. So now this is the length of my waistband, so I'm gonna cut it. So my cloth is on a fold, so when I cut this and I open it, it's gonna be very wide, but when I fold it back, it's gonna get the right measurement for my waistband. So that's why we do the fabric in fold. I fold the fabric to make the waistband. So I'm gonna connect this line right out so that I won't make any mistake when cutting this waistband. So here we're gonna cut this waistband here, and we gonna do our waistband. So you see when I open it, you see how wide this waistband be. So this is 10 centimeter waistband I have here, and when I fold it in half, it would be 5 centimeters. So what I'm doing here is just transferring the line, the seam allowance line. So when I'm ready to stitch it, I would stitch it properly. Now you don't do this with permanent marker because it would stain your fabric. I'm just using this marker for demonstration purpose. So here is my waistband that I have here, and you need to put some facing iron and facing onto your waistband. Now I won't be doing iron and facing in this video because this is just for demonstration purpose. So go and face I put some iron and facing onto your waistband, and then come back and let's get sewing this skirt together. Now I'm at my sewing machine, and this is the waistband that I put aside. Now this is the back of the skirt that I hold in here with the 2 darts, and now this is the front of the skirt. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna stitch the 2 dart first. So now I'm gonna stitch it on the wrong side of the fabric. I'm gonna stitch this dart. So I'm gonna fold my dart and I'm gonna place it under my sewing machine, and I am gonna stitch this. As you see, I turning on my sewing machine. Now I'm using industrial sewing machine which I purchase, and when I'm telling you I love this industrial sewing machine. If I the only know how to buy an industrial sewing machine instead of all these domestic sewing machine. Now this machine I purchase it from the United States, and I get it shipped to me. So it cost me a fortune to buy it plus to ship it. Right now, so you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna stitch your dart. So get your dart together and you're gonna stitch the dart in place. So you're gonna back stitch, and then you're gonna continue stitching your dart. And I tell you, this machine is like breeze, really breeze. So go ahead with the dart. This is what the front of the skirt look like. So this is the front of the skirt we have here. So we're going to stitch now one iron. So you have to iron this dart in place. I'm not ironing it because the time of the video, I don't want to keep it too long. So that's why you won't see me iron it. But iron your dart in place. You could iron it either to the 2 sides or to the front of the skirt. Get the back of the skirt and continue stitching the dart in place. So I'm going ahead and I will back stitch, and then I will stitch my 2 darts. Now let me tell you a little bit of this machine, about this machine. Now this is a console machine that I am sewing here, and is a straight stitch machine, a lock stitch, right? And this machine is this is a machine that comes with a motor and a foot pedal. So I could speed up this machine, set it to whatever speed I want it to, but I just have it to the regular speed that I send it with. And when telling you, this machine is a wonderful machine. So if you planning on investing in a machine, instead of you buying a home sewing machine or domestic machine, I would advise you to invest in an industrial machine, because eventually you will have to end up buying an industrial machine, especially if you want good sewing heavy fabric and you want your clothes to sew very neat and nice like professional, or if you planning on sewing for people, you'll have to upgrade to a industrial sewing machine. So now back to our skirt. Now when you finish sewing the dart, remember to iron your dart. You could either iron the 2 dart to the side, or iron it to the back or the front of the skirt. Now what I'm doing here is for the zipper that I am measuring down on the back of the skirt here. So it depends on what length of zipper you using. Now I'm using a 9-inch zipper. Now some people use 7-inch zipper. Now people with big butt or large butt, they cannot use 7-inch zipper because it won't got enough room to go into the skirt. Because remember, we curve, we have big hips, or we have big butt. So the 7-inch zipper won't work for our hips or our butt because it won't have enough room opening for we to get through. So I always work with a 9-inch zipper, and that work best for me. So now leave the zipper opening, right, and then you stitch from where the zipper ending right down to the hem of the skirt. Now I'm closing up the back of my skirt right down to the hem. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to leave this slit in the back of the skirt. So for now, we just doing a full skirt. We closing up the hem and everything. So this is what the back of the skirt look like. I'm going to fold in the zipper allowance, and I'm going to draw in the zipper allowance line on the other half of the skirt so I can stitch the zipper in place evenly or straight. So what I'm doing is copying the line from the other side with a piece of chalk to make sure I get the right fold to put the zip in. I don't want the zipper allowance to be too small amount or too much. So now we're going to place your skirt right side together, and now we're going to stitch the front and the back together. So this is what we're doing here. So you're going to go ahead, and I'm looking for my ruler to draw in the allowance onto the side of the skirt, and I am using a chalk to draw in this allowance onto the side of the skirt so I can stitch it with the amount of allowance that I draw onto the fabric. So here now, you're gonna even up that, and I'm gonna place my fabric under my sewing machine, make sure my skirt line up properly, and now I'm gonna stitch it. Now I'm not using pin because I'm been sewing for years, so I get accustomed without sewing with pins. But as beginner, or if you can handle sewing without pins, you go ahead and use pin your fabric so you can put it in place. For me, I can handle this, so I would just run through my stitch my skirt without pins because I am guiding my fabric and even in the fabric so that it won't move, right, or come out of place. So when you get more profession, you will able to do what I am doing here when you get more skilled. So for beginners, I would advise pin your fabric. Don't do like me. I'm in this sewing for years, so I could afford to sew without pinning my fabric. For you beginners, pin your fabric. So continue sewing the other side of the skirt and sewing in the seam allowance only. So you're going to stitch your skirt together as I'm doing here, right here, and voila, you have your two sides already sewn up. So this is what our skirt look like. You see, very easy, very neat, cool and simple skirt onto your fabric. Now you're gonna press your seam allowance open, then you're gonna press it to the side, and now you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna serge your skirt. Now I am not serging the skirt right now that I'm doing here because I don't want this video to be too long. So for me, I'd advise if you have an overlocker, go and neaten the edge of your skirt, press your skirt very neat, and then we going to work on the waistband for the skirt. So you see what our skirt look like? Very easy, simple and quick. So who say you can't draft your skirt onto your fabric? I say you could. So I just love drafting pattern, but I can do everything on the fabric just as how I doing it onto the pattern. So for those who don't like pattern paper and who don't able buy no pattern paper and all these people, here is the skirt onto the fabric. Now go ahead, get your waistband. Make sure you put some iron on facing onto your waistband to hold this waistband sturdy. I am not putting any iron on because this is for demonstration purpose. But if you guys want to see how I do iron on my waistband, you can leave me a message or you can request a video showing you how to put your iron on facing onto your waistband. So now you're gonna measure your waist now. Clip the limit for, don't forget to leave the button allowance extension out, right? So what I'm doing here, I'm gonna pin the waistband. Now this section I'm gonna use pin to pin the waistband because I need to leave the button allowance out. So I'm gonna pin my waistband to the skirt right here, which I am doing here, so that I can sew the waistband in place because I don't want the waistband to move. Alright, so this is what we're doing here. Make sure the button allowance leave free at the edge of the skirt. I'm going to show you how to do this. Right, so get your skirt, make sure your skirt straight, make sure it even, and make sure your waistband have the iron on facing on it so the waistband could be sturdy. So this is the button allowance. So now get your skirt. If you want, you can pin it like this. You can pin it like this, which I think this is the better way I'm going to do it. So we're going to pin this skirt like this, and you can stitch it. You can either pin it or stitch it. Now I'm going to stitch mine without the pin, and I'm going to guide it as I go along. So pin yours and stitch it just as how I stitch in my waistband. So I'm going to stitch my waistband. I'm going to stitch within the seam allowance as you guys see me doing here. Now stitch within how much ever seam allowance you put on to when you was drafting the skirt onto the fabric. So go ahead and stitch your waistband in place like what you see I doing here. Make sure the skirt underneath in folding up or puckering up under the sewing machine to give you more work. Always check the arm on the fabric to make sure it lying flat. Okay, so if you guys like this video and you want to see more of this video, like how to draft on fabric instead of paper, you can let me know below this video and request the video, well, and I will do more of this video for you if you like this. If you prefer this method or you prefer the paper method, please let me know down below this video. And I want to say shout out to my subscriber and thank you for being patient with me. Now what I am doing here, I am clipping the waistband so that I can turn the waistband over properly. It can sit down flat so it won't have any pucker up inside the waistband, or it won't prevent it from turning. So go ahead and put some snip into your waistband, and we're gonna top stitch this waistband. All right, yes, as I was saying, shout out to all my subscribers and shout out to all those who send requests asking me how I'm doing. They hope I'm doing fine. Thank you guys for checking up on me. But yes, I'm doing fine, and I appreciate you guys checking up on me. Right, I really appreciate it, and thank you very much. So what I'm doing here, I'm folding in the seam allowance for the zipper so I can get the waistband line up properly. Now for this seam allowance here, now I have to loose out back a piece of the skirt where the button extension have to be.
Maybe outside.
I go and I stitch it right out, which I supposed to fold the seam allowance for the zip in before I stitch the waistband on. So what I have to do here now is I'm folding in this waistband to see how it will look on the skirt. So you see how small my waistband end up being? That's what you want. You don't want the whole big broad waistband. You want to fold it back. Remember, the waistband is 5 centimeter on fold of the fabric. So when you open it, it will 10 centimeter and you fold back 5. So this is what I'm doing here. Now, this is the button extension that I have here. You see me pinning here, right? But I make a mistake here, which I stitch all. I didn't fold in the zip allowance when I was sewing the skirt and leaving out the button allowance for the skirt. So you see me pinning this waistband. In a while you will see I have to loose out a little piece of the waistband, not the whole waistband. So I'm just pinning this waistband in place one time, so that's when I'm ready to loose out the little piece, I won't have to come back and pin all this in place. So watch this part and you will see where I make the mistake of stitching the waistband right out without folding in the zipper allowance, which I will show you just now. Just let me just pin this waist in place. So I'm checking my waist to make sure that when I stitch I wouldn't go over the stitching line in front of the skirt. So you see me pinning here, so pin your waistband together. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn the skirt and I'm gonna look at what this skirt look like first before I stitch this skirt in place. So you see that piece right there, that is what I talking about. You see this here folding right here, so look at it here. So you see this section, what I'm holding, the longer section for the button allowance, that is where I have to loose out because I didn't fold in the zip allowance. So I have to go back, loose out that little piece and get that zip allowance fold in. Because if I don't do that, you see how the waistband would end up. So grab your seam ripper and loose out the little piece if you do that. So that's why I recommend watch the video first before you start doing anything. The reason why I didn't edit this piece is because I want to show you how mistake does make. So some people would edit this piece, but I just want you to see everything. So in case you reach in this difficulty, you can do the same thing that I do here. So now I'm gonna fold in the zip allowance and now I'm going to go and stitch back the waistband to the waist of the skirt so that when I'm ready to stitch the zipper, I won't end up in any difficulty. So this is where we at right now. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna stitch back the waistband to the skirt. So now I stitch this. Now the zip allowance fold in the right way. So look at it now. So you see it fold in the right way. So now I can go ahead and stitch the zip allowance, the zip onto the skirt, and I have my button allowance right here. Now your zip should have been on before you put on the waistband. If you're doing a button like what I'm doing here, the zip should have been on the skirt already, but I will show you an easier way and a different way to do this. So I'm gonna fold back my waistband to right side, and I'm gonna stitch this waistband very close to the skirt opening, and then I'm gonna stitch where all the lines is to make the button extension, so I can close up the button extension in the line. So look for where the stop of the waistband, where you stitch. Remember, you stitch on the waistband, so look for where that stitching end, and then continue that stitching from the stitch that you stop when you stitch the waistband, and continue it to the button allowance. So this is what I'm doing here. So I look to where the stitch stop, where I stop the waistband, where I back stitch, and I'm gonna continue stitching the waistband right out to the button allowance. I'm gonna turn it and I'm gonna close up that button allowance so that when I turn over the waistband, I don't have any opening or any raw edges, which I'm gonna show you right now. So this is what this waistband look like. So make sure you get right to the edge of the skirt. So I will stitch over back this piece because I didn't get to the edge of the skirt. So I'm gonna look for where the edge of it is, and I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna pin it this time so I can catch or mark it, or you could mark it. So you can mark it If you don't want to pin it, you can mark it. So now I'm going to stitch it from the opposite side to meet the stitching where the waist, with the stitching end for the waistband. And I'm going to go and stitch right here. I'm not passing that stitching. So now that I get the waistband stitched properly, I'm going to trim it and I'm going to turn the waistband over. So now as you guys can see me turning here, so I'm going to turn this waistband over and show you what the button allowance look like. So this is what
the button. What any part is you on the fish were there?
So you guys can
this true any part is you on the fish were there, the plate cover down. The red thing or the blue thing or the two is not plenty screw.
You're going to put your button.
So don't look for a holy.
Stitch your button allowance in and turn in. So you see why I pin the waistband before and stitch it. So look at what it look like. So this is my button allowance here. Okay, so I'm gonna go and finish stitching the waistband right away around now. Before I stitch your waistband, I'm gonna loose out this pin and I'm gonna turn the waist now, turn in that, flip it right side to right side. Look at me right here what I'm doing. I'm gonna flip this right side to right side, make sure I remove a pin or two to get the waistband to sit down properly. Now on this section, I'm gonna fold in the top seam allowance for this waistband so that when I turn it, I won't have any problem. So you're gonna grab your waistband, put it under your machine, but we have to turn in the seam allowance, which I forget again right here. So you see I ripping that out is because I had to turn in the seam allowance for the waistband, the top piece, so that when I turn the waistband to the inside, I would have a smooth finish and I don't have to go and look for torn up any seam allowance. It's going already torn up. So I didn't edit this piece and let you see the mistake that seamstress could have. So turn up your seam allowance for the waistband and go ahead and continue stitching. Close off your waistband so that when you turn it, you won't have any open edge or any raw edges. So continue stitching the waistband here as I am doing here. So clip your thread now and continue stitching. So now I'm gonna turn this waistband over and let you see what it look like. So you see what this look like? So this is our waistband. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna close up the waistband now to get a neat finish. We're gonna close up the waistband to get a neat finish. So this is what the waistband look like now. By now your zipper should on first before you fold, before you stitch the waistband to the skirt. Your zipper should be on, but I doing it a different way. I'm gonna put in my zipper after I stitch my waistband here. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put in the zipper before I put the button. So you see I have the zipper here, so I'm using a 9mm zipper. I'm gonna put my zipper in. Now this method works very easier for me, that's why I'm doing it this way. As you can see, I didn't close up the waistband for make the finish close, right? To make the finish the final stitch, like you know they just call it like stitching the ditch or whatever. I didn't do that to the waistband. I leave it open still so that I can push the zipper allowance underneath the waistband. So you see, look at what my zipper, how easy this become for me, so I can stitch it. So I'm going to insert the other one under the waistband because I didn't hem up the waistband as yet. And you see how neat this look? Look how neat that look for me. So this is my easy method of doing that, you see? Oh, and so I can get to stitch my zipper in place. So now I'm going to pin that. Oh, I'm using pin for do this because I have to hold the zipper in place. So I'm gonna make sure I get the zipper properly where I can cover the zipper so that I can stitch the zipper in place. So go ahead, and if you like this method how I do my zipper, you can follow me. This is just my way of doing my method of my zipper because I find this easier for me. Now people have other way and all type of way other people have in inserting the zipper. That is the method. I'm just showing you my method and what work for me. So you can follow my method if you like it, or you follow your own method. Let me tell you, fashion is all about style and all these things. You have to invent your own thing and teach yourself your own way of making things work easier for you. So go ahead and stitch your zipper. Okay, so stitch your zipper in place as I am doing here, and go ahead and finish off your zipper what I am doing here. So sewing is all about it's all about techniques. You have to know which technique work easier for you, which one work best for you, either the harder way or the easier way. I always look for the easy way out. I learned the hard way, but I try to look to make things easier for me, because especially when you have a lot of zipper to put in more than one garment, especially if you are sewing for people, you have to know what works best, easier for you, what method works for you best. So go ahead and finish off your zipper, and then let's see what our zipper look like, what the skirt look like if you like this method. Alright, so I'm finishing off my zipper here. So you can go ahead and watch others how they put in the zipper, but this is just my method of doing my zipper. So I'm trying to get my zipper lie down straight so that when I done with the skirt, I won't have any pucker in my zipper. Alright, continue finishing off your zipper, and let's see what this skirt look like. So I'm not using a zipper foot, I'm using my regular sewing machine foot for this zipper. You can go ahead and get a zipper foot and stitch your zipper in place. I always use a longer zipper than my the zipper required for the skirt. So it's either you cut it or you do whatever you want to the zipper, is up to you, but I never use a short zipper because using a 7-inch zipper I won't able to get in my skirt because I have large hip and I have a big butt. Alright, so that's why you'd see me using a longer zipper, a 9-inch zipper, so that I can get more room to enter into my skirt. So I am trying to put my zipper in place. So I'm inserting the zipper extra allowance into the waist of the skirt, and now I am making sure that my waistband line up before I continue stitching the zipper onto the skirt, so that when I finish stitching, my waistband would line up properly. Okay, sorry I didn't get to show you direct the angle, but in my next video I will try to see if I can get the angle properly for you. Okay, so continue stitching, and this is what it looks like. So I finished stitching my zipper here, and I'm going to zip it up, and I'm going to show you why this is an easier method for me. Now I insert that right under this, so when I stitch in the waistband, that gonna sew down with the waistband. So as you guys can see, and now look my button allowance right there. Okay, so go and press your skirt, press your waistband, press your zipper, press everything down neat so that the skirt can sit down very neat. So you see my button extension, what it look like. So now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna mark where I want my button and my buttonhole to be. So I'm inserting and taking out make sure the waistband come out properly before I go and stitch down this waistband. Okay, so don't use any sharp object to send out your waistband for it to sit down. So fold back your waistband very neat, and then you're going to go and you're going to sew this waistband down. Close it off so it could be very neat. Okay, it could be very neat. So make sure your zipper, everything sit down properly. So you see how easy my zipper easiest to go in? I prefer this method because it's less stress. When you see you have to line up a seam with your zipper, sometimes the seam gone off track, sometimes the seam in line up, sometimes the two center back in line up, you have to rip up the zipper, rip off the zipper and all them things. Now I don't have to rip off any zipper because this is an easier method. What I'm doing here is my buttonhole. So I'll show you on my industrial machine. I'm gonna just make a rough buttonhole for you, for just to show you. Yes, you can make buttonhole right onto your industrial sewing machine. If you guys want to see how to make buttonhole onto your industrial sewing machine, please let me know, and I will do a video on buttonholes only to show you how to make buttonholes right onto your fabric on your industrial sewing machine. So I am marking out the button allowance here, and I am going to make my buttonhole right here. So this is my buttonhole, and this is what I'm gonna stitch the buttonhole now onto the fabric. So I'm leaving a little allowance because, as you can see, the button would be too close. So I'm leaving a little allowance so I can stitch my buttonhole right here. So let's go ahead and let's stitch this buttonhole in place. So I'll do it right on my industrial sewing machine, just a rough buttonhole. I'll show you how to sew. But if you want to see me do a video on how to make buttonhole right on your industrial sewing machine, you can request that video and I will do it for you. So let me go ahead and let me make my buttonhole right onto my industrial sewing machine. I am doing here. So I'm going to stitch my buttonhole in place so I can put on my button onto my skirt. Now, some people require buttonhole foot, or you have the domestic sewing machine, which come with all the parts. It come with a buttonhole foot, it come with a button foot, it come with a lot of parts. The domestic sewing machine come with all the parts. Now my industrial sewing machine did not come with a button foot, right? You have to buy a button foot. I do have a button foot for this sewing machine, but for changing out the foot, it does take a lot, because you have to change out the whole throat plate and all these things for put on that foot, and you have different screws you have to go to put on the button foot on my industrial sewing machine. So I teach myself how to make buttonhole right onto with my industrial sewing machine. I taught myself how to do that, how to make the buttonhole. You just have to teach yourself certain things. Not everybody will teach you everything. So I had some time and I get a piece of fabric and I decide to see if I can make buttonhole from my industrial sewing machine. And yes, I did get through with making it. That's why I'm showing you that you can do buttonhole without a buttonhole foot on your industrial sewing machine, which I am doing here to close up this buttonhole. Now this is just a rough buttonhole I am making, and as I said, if you want to see me make a video on how to do the buttonhole on my industrial sewing machine, please let me know and I'll be happy to do that for you. Now I'm doing this video here and I'm leaving you with this video because I am going on a holiday. I'm going on a month holiday. I'm taking a trip, right? I'm going on a month holiday, taking a trip with me and my family. So I said let me just do a little video for you so it can keep your company until I return by God's grace, right? So that's why I do this easy and quick video for you. So if you guys didn't see me pose in video for the rest of the month, know that I gone on a trip with my family, and when I return by God's grace, I will let you guys know, so that I will let you know that I return. So I'm doing this video to leave it with you until I return by the grace of God. Alright, so this is what the buttonhole look like. It might look a kind of messed up right now because I mark it out with a marker so you guys can see it. So now I'm going to insert the button, and I'm going to see if the button could fit inside this buttonhole that I make here. And voila, yes, the buttonhole fit. So now I'm going to mark where I need the button to sew down. So as you guys can see, I am marking, and the reason why I'm using the marker is to show you guys so you can see. You don't do this. Don't do this on the fabric with permanent marker, because I'm telling you, you're gonna ever regret it. Now this is a piece of trial fabric I am doing, and I am not using this skirt to go anywhere, because tell you this marking on this skirt could never come out. So you don't do this. I just use this for demonstration purpose so that you can see. Now if you're doing this on the fabric, use chalk. Alright, use chalk where you could iron off, or you can wash off. Okay, don't go and do this with no marker on your original fabric or your main fabric. I'm telling you, it cry. You understand? So I'm stitching on the button here right now, and then I'm gonna finish off the waistband and the waist and the hem of this fabric. Sorry. So let's go ahead and let's do this right here. So let's insert that. Now let us stitch this waistband in place. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's stitch our waistband in place. So I'm going to stitch my waistband in place to close off the waistband and finish this skirt. After the waistband, I'm going to stitch the hem. Okay, so guys, this is what the buttonhole and the button look like, very neat. And I do a button extension, as you guys can see. So if you want a video on this sewing machine, if you want me to do a tour of this sewing machine and show you how to thread it and do a more in-depth video about this sewing machine, you can let me know. Alright, all I can tell you to know is that I love this machine, and if I only knew before, instead of investing in those domestic sewing machine, I'd prefer make one buy and buy this machine for me. So you see now your skirt is finished. So this is what your skirt piece look like, very neat and nice. So you see my skirt band is 5 centimeters. Okay, so it's not too broad, it is not too slim, and this is my buttonhole. Don't mind the buttonhole look messed up, it's because of the marker make it look messed up, but the buttonhole is very neat and nice. So forget close your eye and forget about the marking on this. That's why I tell you, don't use permanent marker, because trust me, your clothes gonna look very messy with it. So this is what this skirt looks like. Very easy. See? Very nice buttonhole. Easy and quick. So you see how quick and simple this skirt is? No. Very nice. So go ahead and press your skirt. Now this is what your button extension look like. This is how a skirt should look. Neat and nice. So if I put on this skirt now onto my mannequin, you would see what it look like. It would fit her very neat and very nice. So fold up your hem allowance now, and then we're gonna go and we're gonna stitch the hem. I want to put it off a little bit because at the side it was a little bit too long. What you see I'm doing here. So fold your hem allowance in place, and now we're gonna stitch up the skirt, and then we're going to finish off the skirt. And this is how you stitch a simple skirt. So I'm glad I was able to do this video for you guys to show you guys what you can do on the fabric, right on the fabric. You don't have to get pattern paper. Now the reason why I use pattern paper because I love to draw. I love to show off my creativity, and on the pattern paper you can do any design you want. Onto the fabric you can do it too, right? But for me I find it was waste a lot of fabric when you doing these designs. So if I do my design on paper, paper cheap, I can buy paper and I can timber. Fabric is very expensive, so that's why you would see me mostly doing my design on paper, right? Because it would save me a lot of fabric. So go ahead and finish off the hem of the skirt, and I can do here back stitch, pick it out, clip, and this is what the skirt look like. So this is what the skirt look like. You see what the skirt look like? This is what it looked like. Very neat and nice. So I'm gonna get my mannequin and I'm going to put the skirt on to my mannequin. So let's see what this skirt look like onto the mannequin. So go and press your skirt. Alright, and we have a very neat skirt. So this is a quick and easy video for you guys. Very easy. So here is the mannequin, and I'm going to place this skirt on the mannequin, and let's see how this skirt look, if the skirt fit or if it's properly or not. So let me put the skirt onto the mannequin and let you guys see what this skirt look like. So I'm going to zip it up, and voila, and the skirt fit her perfect. So the skirt is not big for her, the skirt is not too tight or anything. You see how the skirt waist fit her perfect. So you have to know your customer, you have to know the measurement, you have to know how to sit on the pattern properly. So I was very happy with how this skirt turned out. I am very happy with the waistband. As you guys can see, the waistband fit her perfect. The waistband is not shine away from the waist. It sit down very perfect. If your waistband is shine away from the waist, you have to go back and measure the waist and waist, so the waistband could sit down. If you want to see it, maybe I can do how to stop the measurement from shining away from the waist, or stop the waistband from moving away from the waist, and how the waistband can sit down on the waist and properly. You can request that. So you see how this skirt fit on neat and nice. But this is what a skirt supposed to look like. This is how a waistband supposed to fit. Not too tight, not too big. Just perfect. The hips of the skirt supposed to fit just perfect. You don't want the waist to be too tight so the person can't walk in it. Alright, the bottom of the skirt supposed to be wide enough so that the person can walk in it if you are not leaving any slit at the back of the skirt. So if you guys like this video, please leave me a comment and please give me a thumbs up. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope I was making it easy and simple for you. So I'll see you in my next video.